if we can help people ascertain this in everyday life, we have them writing it down, we have them really be in front of mind, and again, it doesn't have to be some groundbreaking thing, then I think we're going to have a better world, but we're also going to have a happier world. I think that's really important stuff. I think a huge problem today, but I think over the last probably 25, 30 years has been, well, clearly mental health's a huge issue, but we have our systems in place, and that's what we're really trying to do every day in this kind of system. And I know a lot of you guys are in this field as well in some way, shape, or form, is to continue to show up and do the thing, and movement is a big part of our thing, and we know the science around movement. But what happens, unfortunately, when people, if they lose and the purpose, or they lose something that they might be clinging on to or aiming for, and the purpose dissipates and it's hard for them to find again, then that's when it becomes like a malaise, emptiness type, apathy type thing. So I really want, or apathy, sorry, I really want this just to be a reminder for people that there's purpose in every day, and just to find one little purpose, one little thing in your day. And I know Frankie will help us with his kind of work as well. But before we get into having a chat with Frank and little different things around purpose and stuff, and we'll just wax lyrical back and forwards, and happy to take anyone's comments as well, or their what gives them purpose. But you don't have to share it, and it can be changing, and it can be small or large or lots of different things, and it comes back to what we talk about. But I know I've mentioned a couple of different studies, but if you think about the MAIDS study that I mentioned on Runner's Bolt once or twice recently, it's because it's really fresh in my consciousness, clearly. And I know lots of different experts, I guess mentors, have used the study, and it's really important. So 2007, Harvard did the study, 84 maids, 84 maids from Southern America, and they'd all been in the job very similar time length, and they were all just going about their business. Didn't really know a shitload about physical well-being, and were probably just doing it day to day and support their families and the like. Harvard, a couple of researchers and psychologists from Harvard, two very intelligent ladies, Alan Langer and someone else, went down there, and they took the 84 ladies. 44 were just simply told in a meeting room that what they were doing in their everyday work was more than standard, and it passed the Surgeon General's national level of moderate to high activity. So what that means is it's good for them, and it builds muscle mass, and this is what we lose if we don't do stuff, and you guys are promoting this and everything. Left ventricle and strength and blood pressure and bone density and the muscle to keep you upright and as you get older, and all these things, and longevity. So they were told all that. It's 20 minutes, that's it, one chat. And the control group was told nothing. 4 weeks later, the same two groups were brought in, the 44 ladies who were just told that information about the positivity of the adaptations of what they were doing every day, and they weren't even thinking about it. Every single one of them, decreased blood pressure, decreased heart rate, fat loss, crazy, yeah? Fat loss, and it was one other marker that escapes me. All significantly better though. So 4 or 5 physical markers that were significantly better. They changed nothing. This is really important because it was very insistent, and they were kept an eye on. They changed nothing 44 of them in diet, or because they didn't know what the study was for, by the way, until the end. So they changed nothing in diet or definitely not exercise. So just work and that's it. And the control group of 40, not one change. Pretty powerful stuff when you think about purpose. So you think about the incidental movement that we all would do. We talk about movement, but anything in life with the purpose behind it. And just getting up on this kind of session today, which takes purpose. Now, I wanted to start something because I've said this on pretty much since the start about 2 breathless sessions a week, one zone 2-ish, walk, jog, ride. If you're training for something, obviously make it a jog. One strength, that's a perfect week. And obviously now Pilates, it's a perfect week. And now, again, this is just keeps coming back into the public consciousness in mainstream, thank fuck, that is what you need for the optimal physiology long term and to stave off everything and reverse left ventricle stiffness and tension by 20, 30, 40 years, to reverse muscular and bone density depreciation by 20 to 30 years. It's fucking amazing, but it's in mainstream now. And then it's all about, okay, why are we doing something? So then it comes back to that, and then it comes back to the big macro, meso, micro goals that I talk about a lot. So the macro goals, and if you haven't got the macro goals, that's okay. If you think, well, fuck, I don't know, that's okay. That's all right. It'll come. And a lot of yous, at the very least, the macro goals will just be to leave the world, the community, this life, this earth, on this little instance, because this is like a miniature part of what you're here for. You're infinite, but on this particular existence, you're leaving this place in a better place, no matter what happens. So that's big enough, I'd say. But obviously, legacy, family, happiness, memories, contentment each day, putting a smile on someone's face, whatever it may be. Be an inspiration. If you don't like being public or talking to people or being inspiration in other ways or going into any environment you're in, doesn't matter what, and just being your most authentic self, that should be the macro goal. And then the meso goals are just all the other tangibles along the way. Sporting events, racing events, running, triathlon, markers like the 44 maids, the health markers, anything, job promotion. That's your meso goals, because they will. And then the micro goals, that's the stuff we do every single day that are non-negotiables, and they become routine and they're done because of purpose. Okay, but we can't rely on the purpose being in front of mind every day. Hopefully it is, but the motivation we know won't be, and the energy won't be. So then when you've got a finite amount of energy due to other stuff and the motivation's lacking, the micros just become automatic. And that's the really important stuff. And once you just simplify everything, because we fucking make everything too hard, then you got the micros ticking along every single day, which is what you're doing right now. The macros, you don't have to think about much because that's just in your soul. You can write it down if you want, but it's in the soul. So you shouldn't really need to, happiness, generational happiness, health, that kind of stuff. Legacy, leave the world a better place, whatever. The mesos will just tick along there. And people are seeing it, by the way, the last year or two. People are seeing it, oh fuck, these mesos are coming at me way quicker than I ever expected. That's the system. And if you get that in check, and I'm not, that's just what I talk about. And there's a lot of very amazing people that talk about purpose. We'll get one on in a minute. But that's the important stuff. So let's have a think about that. Back to why we're doing this, the zone 2 stuff. You've got purpose behind it. Unless you're doing a session, which I don't think any of you would be in the live stuff. It's just about being up, being on, getting your Friday moving, light stretching, easy walk, easy ride, You might be doing your long run, easy jog, whatever. That's the purpose. So we're not just going through, floating through, okay, with, and just hoping it's all going to fall into place. Keep it simple. I love it. That's a really powerful thing, and purpose, I think, is something that comes up all the time. And I'm only just bringing it to the attention because I feel like I've been writing about it in so many different characteristics and chapters and stuff over the last 12 months or so. So it's weird. Not weird. I should have known it was going to come up a lot. Um, but if I welcome just Frankie to have a chat about this, because he's always got some real good anecdotes about this shit, and it's important. And I know if you're walking, mate, just keep walking and do your thing. But um, I welcome you, mate. And purpose. Oh, there you are. You got the St. Louis
Hey,
kit
Rick,
on.
how
You're
are you?
you're, you're ready to get into work already. But it's pretty powerful, yes, mate. And I can't imagine. I know you've seen a lot of stuff and you've worked with a lot of people. Um, what's your take on that powerful word?
Good morning, everyone. I hope you're going well. Um, it's really, really simple. I'm not very good at taking on information and holding information. That not good at all. But but over the last 30 years, you've heard it from me before, but it really does come down to about four things, and those four things are movement, meditation, affirmation, and you've got to say something good about somebody else. So you've got to find gratitude, compassion, and love. And your only purpose, really, if you want to break it down to the number one macro goal, is just to be the best you possibly can be at any given time in whatever situation you're in at that time. And the other one is really unconditional love, and that starts with yourself, not somebody else. So it's that, and be compassionate, and that starts with yourself, not somebody else. Because if it is to be, it is up to you. You have to do it. It's nobody else. And so other people, or you can read whatever you want, Rick, including your book, whatever you want. But if you are going to, you can be a conduit, or I can be a conduit, or shell anyone for somebody else to go. We can show you a way to get from stress to peace, but you've got to do it yourself. And over the 30 years, I sort of studied everything to find it because I didn't have it a long time ago. And I'm telling you, it's four things. And I was talking to Shell about this the other day, and it starts with your body. And you spoke about that with the maids. That's movement. That is the first thing. And from the body, once you get little, I'm really passionate about this, especially after starting the course that I'm doing. It starts with body, and then you integrate body with breath. Cara spoke about that when she was on. So you're kind of moving inward a little bit, inward. You're tuning in, not tuning out. So you move in a little bit with breath. When you've got that movement and that breath, it kind of begins to slow down the brain. And once you've slowed the brain down, then you can start saying good things about yourself. So when you get rid of that cloud, fog, vice on the head, whatever it might be, then you can start infiltrating the soul, and you can begin to feel good about yourself, unconditional love towards yourself, compassion towards yourself. And as soon as you've got that, your energy shifts. And when your energy shifts, you're able to give that to other people. So, can you move? Can you sit down quietly? Little bit, little bit, little bit. Can you affirm yourself? And then can you find gratitude as you're moving now, or as you're sitting listening to this? Think of one person in your life. They might be sitting next to you. There might be a picture up on the wall. You might be running with them. One thing or one person that you're grateful for. And I promise that when you think of one, more and more and more and more come. And you start to see that maybe our world might not be as heavy as what you sometimes perceive it to be.
Very well said. I love the simplicity, and that's the simplicity is everything. But I think what Frank said massively there, and I know we talk about it every day, but Frank was passionate about the movement, and I think when we think about movement, sometimes, not everybody, but sometimes we can make it far too hard, and then it becomes another cross to bear. But what Frank was describing was, and I'll get him to talk about it a bit, but exactly what we talk about with some basic like Eastern movements, Eastern culture movements, some yoga movements, anything just to get it flowing. And then you can, then, because sometimes people aren't going to want to do it. So that 90 seconds just gets everything flowing from all the systems in the body, not just a muscular system. It's the energetic system, it's the lymphatic system, it's the nervous system. You integrate that with breath, and then everything starts to flow, and everything becomes a bit clearer. And then you got this system. Like I know Frank's done this for thousands of days in a row, and we can talk about affirmations and gratitude. But I'd love to get into that, mate. So, what would that look like if someone was at the absolute depths of despair, mate? If they couldn't, and gratitude is a beautiful word, but it's hard for people, and I can sympathise with this as well.
Okay.
If you're really struggling in your own way, it's got gratitude sometimes is very hard to find. So it's just about working on other stuff.
So you talk about it, Rick, like moving that pinky finger to start off with, if that's all you can move. All it is that first, the only thing you have to do is show up. Because if you don't show up for yourself, nothing changes. And what happens, and it's happened in my family, is that everything gets shoved down and shoved down and shoved down and shoved down. And if you don't show up to start moving, all the stuff that happens in our lives, because we have no, as soon as I walk out the door, I've got no control of what's going to happen next. I've got to look left and look right before I turn out of the street on my way to work because I don't know what's going to happen. So what you've got to show up first. And if you show up, then you can start to move some of the stuff that you've gathered. We've talked about sticky notes before over your life. You can start to shift things. And as soon as you move one little thing, like that Jenga stack, once you move one little thing, other things start to move as well. They have to move. So show up. This in the Mighty Breads, the soccer team that I've got kids, well, from 18 to 37, but they're kids for me because I'm getting into me. I'm at Oz's age. So they've got to, all they've got to do, they don't have to be able to play. They've got to show up. They've got to do their best. And if they show up and do their best, whatever that looks like to them, that means you're having fun. You can start to have fun. So show up and do your best. That's it to start with. Can I go deeper with that, Rick? I just want to talk about getting from to get to calm eventually, whatever your calm looks like. You've got to be able to focus, and to focus, just hear me out here. You've got to show up. You've got to practice what that focus or what that purpose or whatever it is looks like to you. You've got to, when things go wrong, you've got to sit still. Once you've sat down, once you've started and things haven't maybe gone all the way they thought, it's never a straight line. You've got to revise and you've got to go back and do it again. Now, once you've done all that stuff, you can get a bit of balance. Once you've got your balance, you can start to find a bit of calm. When you get calm, you can sit still in that calm. And that is when you start to make good decisions. Now, when you go through that entire list of things, from showing up to stillness or to calm, once you get through all that, and you start to make those good decisions, your fear starts to shift, because you see that that stuff that you thought was really hard to move then isn't so bad after all. It's scarier to sit in the crap for a lifetime than what it is to shift it. So, I love sport. Love sport, all sports. And I'm just an armchair critic. And I talk to the kids about this when we do our meditation and our yoga and our movement. And I get them to look at, and my favourite sporting moment of all time is Kathy Freeman at the 400-metre Olympics. And I show the kids when we go on camp sometimes, the Kathy Freeman race. But for the kids, I talk about, I love soccer, a lot of them, Ronaldo, or I talk about Usain Bolt. And I talk about how for years and years and years and years and years, they show up. And I talk about how they've had to practice over and over and over and over again. And that 10 seconds that Usain Bolt takes when he runs, he didn't just rock up and do that, and every sinew, muscle, cell in his body goes a gazillion miles an hour. And, it's like this beast running down the track. He had to work at it. But what he does when he gets to the track and he gets to the start line is, if you can watch him, what he does is he takes a huge breath in. So he shakes every limb out. Movement. He takes a big breath in, and you can picture it. And all he is looking at is his one single lane. And I put down the yoga mat and I sit there like we're about to race, right? I'm Usain Bolt. And he puts down all he's worried about is one single lane. He puts his hands, he wipes his hands. And as he puts his head down, he breathes out slowly. He shuts his eyes. His head goes down. Again, he does one last thing. He looks up again, another breath. He goes down, and at that moment, he is at a single point of focus, and he is completely alone and calm. So the only person in the world at that moment is Usain Bolt. Head down, up he goes, and he goes from that to bang, a gazillion miles an hour, and he charges down the track. So how do we be our own Usain Bolt? How do we get to that point of focus and that ability to calm before the storm hits us when we walk out the front door in the day, when we don't know what's going to happen? How do we get to that? Go through those steps. Can I give you one more?
I'm going to get you to go for heaps. I'm going to get you to go through what you do for your Usain Bolt to get to that. But it's brilliant. That's as good an analogy as I've heard. And there's another one, Mark Allen, who's a six-time world Ironman champion, and he had against Dave Scott. He also had six, but Mark had to take a long time to do what he achieved, 15 years in fact. But most importantly was his ability to, for 15 years, show up, but also the last 7 to 10 years of that had to quiet his mind and really make himself the only person on earth as far as in those moments and those little moments that you talk about at the start line there. And it's phenomenal how hard we can make stuff sometimes. So that's brilliantly put. Yeah, keep going, brother.
Yeah, so another one I like to use is, and what we want to do is get from that movement to your breath. And then if you can start to, pranayama, breath work is so important. If you can get to your breath and just breathe naturally all the way down into your belly, it's going to make the world of difference for you. And again, Shell actually had it on Calm for Shelley. If you can breathe out for more counts than you breathe in for, you're doing yourself the world of good as well. Hey, the other one I like to use is Ronaldo. And if you watch him, how he gets himself focused and into a calm state before he executes, he's unbelievable as well. So he does one more thing than Bolt, though, although Bolt might be doing it, I can't see it. He stands there, he takes his 3 paces or 4 paces back, he looks directly at the goal, pays no attention to anybody else or anything else. So he's completely in his zone, arms by his side, hands down, and he says to himself over and over again something like, I am the best, I am the best, I am the best, I am the best. Whatever it is, I cannot miss, I cannot miss, I cannot miss, over and over and over again. And then he takes a shot at goal. If he misses, he turns around and he goes back again. And if he gets it, he goes, I told you so, I am the best. Jeremy Cameron does the same thing. So anyway, I love looking at those things.
No, me too, mate. Hey, we could talk. I could talk all day about this stuff, and that's the thing. Like, I believe I know we're talking about sport, and that's all we ever talk about as far as a side hobby. But it's all relevant, and I believe it can help millions of people. One of the other things, a big part of what I'm writing is the reps building self-belief, and you just said that about Ronaldo, and I think people take that if they take it as a fitness metaphor, whatever. It's not. It's certainly not. It's about rewiring your nervous system, the myelin around your neurons that they can change. Much like we all know, I think we know now about neuroplasticity and the ability for the malleable brain to be changed. So if you're struggling right now, this chat with me and Frank is everything. I need you to remember this. And Frank also mentioned hugely, we must mention it again, the self-love, and I'm going to get you to go through everything in order, like what you do in the morning. But the self-compassion, self-love, that has to come because that is everything for once you've got the movement and the breath, that's going to get you out of anything. You got to do it 20,000 days in a row though. The movement and the breath, and then it's about self-compassion, self-love before you can have anything else. Because you can't have, it's impossible to have genuine gratitude without that. Because you can have gratitude for people and you can love everyone, but if you haven't got the self-compassion, self-love, then it's not genuine anything. So you need that, and the movement and the breath will really get that going. Believe me, I know that very, very, very firsthand as well. Tell us about your, I guess, I love all that and the affirmations and the reps. And Steph Curry's another one. Does the affirmation, doesn't leave the gym until he gets the gym being the basketball gym, doesn't leave until he gets 1,000 swishes in a row every single time. Not 1,000 in, not in a row, but 1,000 swishes. So they can't touch the ring. It sounds superhuman, but it's not because they've done it so many times. And people think they're above. He's nothing. He's not. He's no athletic freak, Steph Curry, which is what we love. We love normal people, reps, building belief. Take us through that spiritual.
So, and this morning again, I had about 20 minutes doing it this morning, but every day starts, I get up pretty early, and then so 4:30 I'm up, and for half an hour I just walk into spare room we've got at home, and I for half an hour, and I actually put the timer on, and I just sit there and breathe and shut my eyes for half an hour, so meditate, and there's no controlling the breath, nothing, and I just let any thoughts come into my head that come into my head, and I just sort of let them go to the side, and then 2 seconds later it'll come back again, and I just let it go, and another 2.5 seconds it comes back, and it comes back about for 28 minutes, and I just let it slide, and sometimes I might get up and there'll be not much going on, and I think, gee, I'm having a good day here, and I said, yeah, be quiet, let that slide. I'm having a good day, let that. And so I just sit there and listen to whatever's going on in my head, which is often a lot, for half an hour. People think that I think people think that when they meditate, they're meant to walk into a room, sit down, shut their eyes, and have nothing go through your head. And that is just fanciful. It's never, ever going to happen. So, and I did when I started. So, what I look for now is the actual thing going through my head. So, instead of looking for the space, I look for the actual whatever it is. Oh, how are you going to do that? You can't do that. You haven't got time to do that. What are you doing? I look for that and I attach myself to that. So it's like fishing. And then I wind it in, I grab it, I grab the thought, and I just chuck it back into the water and let it swim away. Now, the only way that I've got to the point where I can do that is over 30 years I've practiced. And that's what I mean by showing up. So that's the very first thing for half an hour. Then I'll go into a bit of gentle movement. And Johnny Jackson, and I love Johnny Jackson, he's got, well, like a lot of the people down at Runners, like a lot of you, great spirit and depth. And I'm attracted to that. And Johnny, when he came on, talked about having a pre-gym gym. And again, I was talking to, speaking of depth, I was speaking to the beautiful Shell the other day again. And I was saying that what I'm really interested in is, I'm not really interested in the asana, the yoga movements as such, because for me, there's no way I can twist myself around into a pretzel. I just can't do it. And what I am interested in is I'm interested in the warm-up to get to where you get to those movements. Because what those little warm-up things do, like rotating shoulders, like opening fingers up, hugging your thumb when you shut your fingers, like moving your neck from one side to the other, and doing that all with breath work, is you're working the same meridians, or you're working the same chakra points or energy points as what you do when you actually go into the movements. So that is like my real kind of passion, and that also works with the kids too, that I love doing. But you've got to be a bit more energetic with the boys to get them to a point where you can get them to calm. So I do that. Salute to the sun every day. So that's yoga movement every day. And
Do you want to tell us a bit more about that, please?
yeah, so that's just so I face east. So, and luckily I'm on the right side of the house for that. So I don't know what the names think, but I whack the blinds up in me PJs, Rick, and just do a salute to the sun. And all that is showing gratitude. It's basically like a salutation. It's a gratitude to showing gratitude to the earth, to the universe, to the sun, and also receiving energy, warmth, and that gratitude back again. So
What's it look like?
that's and all it is a group of movements that again works each part of your body. So that's it. So it's a gratitude movement. I don't know. Kazi might have more to it
No,
than
no, no,
that,
no,
than
no,
what
no,
I
no. It's
have,
not
but
about. I just want to know what yours looks like. It's
that's
marvelous.
what that's it for me. And that's a great one, Rick, to do like a bit of gentle movement and then do a sun salutation. It's a full-on workout that doesn't kill you.
And that's the thing, Frank. I think like what we spoke about with purpose and purpose, that's it. And if you listen to this and you're not in a great spot, and you're hearing me talk about stuff off the top and Frank talk about some amazing things, but you don't understand what we're saying in different words, don't think, oh, it's not for me, and then go down that rabbit hole. That's not what we want at all. We want just basic. Anything is Frank's non-negotiables. If all you remember about it is showing up for 30 years for his micro goals, that's it. 30 years. And you know what? What about the brilliant analogies with your thoughts then? 60, 70,000 thoughts a day, and we expect them to go away when we meditate, which is the opposite. The amount of lives you will save just from that 20-second sentence about the fishing rod is absolutely phenomenal. Continue.
So then I'll do some affirmation, and my movements, as well as my affirmations, pretty much stay the same. So I'll change the gentle movements from time to time, um, and add different ones. And I've got a few different routines that I use. It's 20 minutes to do that. So I do that in 20 minutes. Then I might have, say that's half an hour all up. So there's an hour gone. And then it's affirmation. So I am positive, peaceful, healthy, and happy. I'm positive, peaceful, healthy, and happy 3 times every day. I say that, and um, I've done that since I was not positive, I was not peaceful, I was not healthy, and I wasn't happy. I think I spoke about that
Mate, it
the
doesn't matter
last
if you
time I
repeat. I
spoke,
love it. It's people need to hear it. So you started that. You started that when
when
you.
I wasn't,
Mm.
because it's what I wanted to be. So I didn't believe a word of it when I started. And that is an unbreakable chant that I have now. And there's not one cell in my body that has any fear towards facing anything that I have to ever. And I used to shit myself. I couldn't get out of bed. So I am positive, peaceful, healthy, and happy. With love and courage, I overcome all of my fears. With love and courage, I overcome all of my fears. So I'll say that one as well. Because if I don't do these things, if I do, and then I go out, I go for a run, go and see, Shawnee and Frankie's at 5, go to track club, go to a jog on a Saturday, go and see the Breads at training, and go for a walk with my great mate Kevy, who I love dearly, on a Friday, go down for a swim on a Sunday morning. And if I'm still feeling shit after doing all that, I just say, like last week, I just had a Kev. He'll say, "How you going?" Or I'll say, "How you going?" And Kev will say, "Well, I'm no good," or I'll say, "I'm no good." And then for the next hour or half an hour, you just get it all out. And so that's the way that I can move forward in a positive, happy way. I can handle anything that comes my way.
So you said the affirmations talking about purpose. Um, that's all I was getting to with purpose. And I know we started off the chat a lot of it with the MAID study and purpose around intention and intent of movement and intent of tasks, but positive, happy, what you have to
And
healthy.
yeah, positive, peaceful, healthy, and happy. Sorry, Rick, I thought you'd finished. People are so important because we're all going through the same sort of stuff. And it's not about holding your stuff in. It's not a burden to let people know how you feel. And the thing that you learn is that um, you got to learn not to take on other people's energy. And so you got to be able to listen. And, for me and Kevy, or for me and Thompson, or whoever's there, it's about listening without taking on the energy of that person, because you've got your own stuff that you've got to deal with. So you've got to have people, one person is all you need, where you can get stuff out, and all they need to do is listen. And as soon as you get it out, we talk about that movement of energy, getting that out of your gut where it all sits. Um, it's about spewing it up and having the person opposite saying, "I hear you," or "It's going to be all right," or "You don't know where the story ends. Who does?" That's it.
Yep. And that's the thing. I think if we don't have to always be so stoic as to not not have those conversations. And I think you'd be surprised how much energy you're putting out if you're not having the conversations anyway. So actually talking about it is actually going to be better for all involved. That's the thing, because you think if you're really struggling, and you're around people in the workplace or whatever it may be all day, you'd be very surprised. It's probably taking more energy out of you and the whole room in general. So just by having a simple conversation, even if you're not that way inclined, it's really important. And like you said, not taking on others' energy, which is easier said than done, but it's also if you've got purpose around that. If me and you are talking, Frank, and you're telling me stuff, and I'm just being an ear. That's all I'm being. Especially, you don't have to ever be worried about saying the right or wrong thing either. By the way, like it's just naturally whatever comes to you. Like there's no fucking rule book or right or wrong. Not everyone, and even if you are a psychologist, there's no right or wrong. Let alone all of us that are just doing our best to get through life. So always let's just simplify everything. And Frank's routine is just everything, in my humble opinion, and the way you get and communicate to the kids. So tell us a bit about what you're doing at the moment, the course and that.
Well, so I've picked up a few things on the yoga course, like
No, we'll tell everyone what you're doing because we don't
oh
know.
right, oh it's a 200 hour
I
just a
think you presume that everyone on gold goes to track. The people on it's like 2% of the people on live. People listen to this next week, Monday. There's 90% of people you don't know, brother. So I know you think we all know you, but I know you. Not everyone goes to track, my great man. So okay, continue. What are you doing right now?
well, it's a 200 hour yoga teaching course, and this is a bit of a anomaly. I'm not really all that interested in doing the teaching side of things because I'm pretty happy where everything lies at the moment. I sort of just did it for myself to see if I could learn something, and so I've picked up bits and pieces on that, really to do with what I was talking about before. So that's my main interest. When it comes to the Sanskrit names for all of the movements and all which you do, and there's a lot of stuff in there that I'm probably not going to take with me down the track, but I've learned a lot of things and it's solidified a lot of things for me as well. So I've really enjoyed doing it. And the platform, it's House of Om, who I've done it through. The platform is sensational that I've done it on. I was going to do it. How's the way the world works? I was going to do it in Cheltenham last year, um, and go to a place, right? And then I had to have a little procedure done on the finger, and I was doing lots of coaching, and it was getting pretty busy, and I thought, shit, how am I going to do this? And I got a call about a week out from starting that they didn't have the numbers, so we couldn't do it. I was the only one booked in, and then so I just sort of put it to the side and left it. And I was pretty keen to like keep moving forward with all this sort of stuff because it's a real passion of mine, and it's a life for me, and that I love. And so, believe it or not, this beautiful young lady, walks into school and she's doing emergency teaching. And my great mate Thompson goes, "Oh, have you met Haley? Haley's just done a 200-hour yoga course." I said, "Oh, yeah, has she? Where's she done that?" "Oh, House of Om. She went to Bali." I said, "Well, I'm not going to Bali. I can't go to Bali." I had a look at home and they had an online thing. Black Friday was coming up. So it was next to nothing. I thought, oh, fuck it, I might as well sign up. And so I signed up for this 200-hour yoga course, and it's been sensational for me. And I can do it around everything else that I do. So, and it's just a bit of pranayama work, breath work, a bit of gentle stretching, movement work, just the usual stuff.
Well, it's you. I don't think even the practice itself. There's a lot of people wouldn't have heard about that. I know it's not your main passion, but the yoga itself is a means. to an end, and that's what we spoke about the last 50 odd minutes about the purpose and the intention, and that is everything. And it's not, I really want people to understand. We'll go a bit lighter and have a bit of a laugh in the next few minutes, but that what we've spoke about today is it can be as simple as you make it. So let's not look. Frank spoke so beautifully about his 30 years of showing up. And if you just need that little thing in your head about Usain Bolt or whatever we try to talk about, or whatever it may be, you don't have to. I think people think they've got to reinvent the wheel or do something they're not doing. They just got to show up in a simpler way, and then you've already won. We started it with the American Navy SEAL, just make the bed, and just it doesn't have to be hard or complicated, but you do have to do it, and don't expect things to change until you start to make some tiny changes. Yeah, we're pretty much done, Dale. So if you raised your hand on purpose, have a chat.
Yeah, I did on purpose. Getting all tech. Love you guys. Best convo ever. I just wanted to pipe in a little bit, just to add into like the calm state and just a tiny bit on the calm. And absolutely the breath, the movement and then the breath and then the calm and the purpose and whatever order you want to get it in. But I think the smaller things that, and as you're saying at the start of this, doesn't have to be a big purpose. It can just be, you know, a small thing for the day or just, just waking up and just breathing. But same with connecting in to a calm state throughout the day, so you can make better choices. And I suppose it's just being aware of how you're feeling. So it's just acknowledging as you're going out through your day, you could be getting into a state of stress or crisis mode, and then you can't think straight. So it's just catching yourself in those times and just having that compassion in those times. And in those times it's good to breathe, because you've always got that breath, and you may not be able to move, might be talking to somebody or in a big setting. So just really just slowing down everything. And so I think in that instance, like a breath can come first, and just really getting you into that state. And then you can make a better choice. And then, obviously like the movement is a bigger thing in terms of, we want to move every day so that we're in this state. So it's kind of like if you look at it like changing your states and just being aware at the micro um, level as well as like the bigger ones. I know I could go on forever and ever about this. I'm so passionate. Sorry. Um, and yeah, but then when you're in that clarity, that gives you that clarity, and then you're making that better choice to connect to your purpose of that situation. So it can be all throughout the day. And then because you've made that great choice, then you're starting to feel good, and then that's rippling out to everything. And then in over time, getting to that calm state for a longer period as a practice, like a meditation session or just sitting there, is just that's when you get the bigger purpose gold. So that's when your body is completely like heavy and your mind is finally done its, monkey mind stuff, and it's starting to settle. And yoga nidra is a really good practice for this. It takes you into a state where you can then access, another level of consciousness to then get those really gold purpose um, things that are sitting there that you didn't even know that were there. Anyway, I'll stop talking because, I could go on forever about this.
Oh, well,
Oh, okay. So,
keep talking. It was brilliant, and that's the stuff like yeah, Shell's helped me a lot over the journey as well, and that kind of stuff just keeping to front of mind, but not thinking like I've got to be this expert Buddhist monk, like Frank said and Shell said over and over. It's not over the journey. It's not about that. The yoga nidra stuff is fantastic. for those who struggle with meditation, but it's not about struggling, like Frank said, 60,000 thoughts a day, and they'll all keep coming. The monkey mind, Shelley reference, but it's about just in the moment being able to catch yourself every 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 10 seconds, and just breathe. If you're in
Rick,
a situation with 1,000 people, you just got to be able to have something you can go to be able to and reset 10,000 times a day.
yeah, Shell's also got vibration as well. That's so important. That's another one, Shell. And also, yeah, the Yoga Nidra. I have believe it or not, an old CD player next to me, portable CD player. It's the only thing I've ever won. And so I've got a CD in there with a Yoga Nidra, same Yoga Nidra every night. And I just put that on when I go to bed. And I'll very, very rarely get to the end of that. So I'll be asleep. It's a great way to calm you down when you go to bed. And that's basically just a body scan and a little bit of extra stuff on top of that. So that is a brilliant one, Shell and Rick. So get onto a yoga nidra if you can, even at 10 minutes is great. And if you can just find 5 minutes when you get home from work, that might be a challenge for some. But just if you can find 5 minutes where you don't go straight from doing what you were doing to then, from life outside of home to then bang, straight into life inside home. That's another good one as well. See if you can
Huge.
find a couple of seconds. Go to the toilet for 5 minutes if you need to go or not.
Just pretend to go. A couple more minutes and we'll wrap it up. But I think the main things, there's so many things, but let's not get obsessed with if we're not achieving. So if we're not meso goals, so that they will come only when the micro goals are in place and the macro goal is simple and just the macro goal again could be anything, just being happy. And the best thing was what Frank said about he started those micro goals before he believed it, possibly for years. So he was in the depths of despair, but he started just telling himself the opposite and the words that he didn't believe himself. But it's just showing up and again, just doing it 5 seconds, 20 seconds, 10 minutes. It's irrelevant. It's the continuity of doing it and then being able to reset for 5 seconds, like Shell said, throughout the day, just having a simple method. And then it compounds, and all of a sudden stuff starts coming at you. In 12 months, oh fuck, I can't believe how quickly all this stuff's come. But not really quickly, because like Kathy Freeman, Usain Bolt, you've been doing it for a year, just micro level.
Starts with you, remember that, and then show up, start moving, and see where it takes you. I make sure, you gotta say something good about yourself every day. You've got to do it. It works. And if you don't feel good, you better say it a few more times throughout the day as well. And you've got to send some love out to somebody else. You have to every day because that's your gratitude. So you've got to send it out. So you've got to give yourself. I tell the boys this every day. I get on the phone. He's got that many messages on that phone. You got to tell yourself and you got to tell somebody else. And you don't even have to see them. You just put it out there. Shell spoke about rippling before, and I've mentioned this on 100 Day Heroes, which was sensational, Rick. When you picture that perfectly glassy, still water, you drop the pebble into the water, and that first splash of the pebble before it ripples out, that is you. And that is the number one thing you look after. That next ripple out is the next most important thing to you. For me, it's Lou and me family. And then you go the next one. And then it's the beautiful, people that I go run, Shawnee and Matt and all the people that I see throughout the week. That's the next one. And then it ripples out to the next community. And then it goes out from community and it keeps going out and out and out. So remember that glass, pebble, first drop is you. So love yourself.
Well said. So simple. Keep it simple. It's simple. But the thing is, don't just get off hearing something so profound and then automatically just forget about it. So write it down somewhere. A couple of things you might have taken out of today whenever you are listening over the next week or two. And it's really, really important. So really, really, really powerful stuff here. Thanks, Frankie. Great chat again. Brilliant, brilliant work on the chat again. Really appreciate you, mate. You're obviously awesome for the community and awesome for the school. But again, it's far greater than that. If you can remember that, look, we live in an age where there's no excuse not to do that, even if you don't believe it yet. Um, and we can just do it. We can just do it. We're very lucky to be in this age of we can share stuff like this and have like we can talk no matter where we are in the world and talk safely, and that's the key. Hey, great work. Thanks, Frankie. I really appreciate you, mate. Frankie's always around um, to dig into the spiritual stuff and the mindset stuff, and I don't think I want to undersell that. How many years of daily stuff he's done. Everyone thinks he's always, and he is. He's just him. He's authentically him. But he said it perfectly. Every single day, he does the same thing, and it's all about self-love. And I'm gonna, before I say goodbye, I'm gonna get him to go through five, 6 words before he starts his day. You need to just remember that from, especially from 4 blocks or 5 blocks now of 100 Day Heroes. But it's not about that. It's how much he's done. It's about he understands that he's not going to take it all in at once. So a little bit each time and keep just showing up because you're not going to go from fucking here to here. If you're listening to this, which most of you are, you're not going to go to rock bottom to being content in a week or two from a few little tweaks. It's about days. And the thing is, it's going to make you better forever. Every day will be better because you show up for yourself for a few seconds each day at the start or a few minutes, and that might turn into longer. Frank, can you finish it off with your 4 or 5 morning movement breath? Go for it.
Yeah. So do you want to know what I do at the start of the
No,
day?
no, no. Just the words, the movement, the breath.
Oh, right. Yeah, no. So movement, meditation, affirmation. That's it. Movement, meditation, affirmation.
Keep it simple.
Say something good about yourself. Say something good about someone else. That is it. It's all you got to do. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, thanks, Frankie boy. We appreciate you, my bro. Now we spoke. This is all about purpose today, and that's it. Or your only purpose is doing those 3 or 4 things. You just can't lose. Purpose is everything. Don't think it's got to be some grand bloody thing. That's it. That's the purpose. Those
Love
things.
is all. See ya.
Spiritual. Great work, brother. Can't wait. Thank you, Frankie, as always. Purpose
Love
is
is all.
keep
You're
the
a star.
purpose simple.